sometimes we're shooting a commercial to sell slices of pizza. And then,
Yep.
sometimes we're selling HVAC units. Sometimes it's a climbing gym.
How can all of these things work together to make QuikTrip safer? And so that was kind of the goal from a storytelling standpoint. It wasn't just to list facts.
There were so many different things that we needed to do and cover, so that's why we had 39 interviews.
That makes the difference, being able to just pop the cameras into a bag and go, rather than having to break everything down.
Founded in 1999 by Jason Burks, Retrospec Films is Oklahoma's largest turnkey production company of its kind. With a full-time team of over 20 talented individuals, a 12,000 square foot studio to create in, and a resume that spans some of the world's largest brands, if you love learning about filmmaking and storytelling, you've come to the right place. On each episode, we discuss the pursuit of creating things and the problems we solve by digging up projects from the last 20 years, giving you a glimpse behind the scenes where the magic happens. You're listening to Retrospec Films from the archives.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Retrospect from the Archives. Thanks for joining us on our in-house podcast where we dig up projects from the past and dissect all the different ways that we create things, from producing all the way to color grading, finalizing, etc. So today joining me is client manager, producer, Jessica Hightower.
Hello.
And let's see. Oh, man, the longest list of all. Well, what do you like? What's your number one? Do you want it would your number one be director, or would it be cinematographer, or would it be, what do you think?
I mean, it's pretty 50-50 between all of those things.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll just make the long list.
I just do whatever people tell me to do.
Director, cinematographer, editor, color artist, and sometimes some writing. Definitely lots of creative development. Adam.
Yeah.
Feel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about a project that we just completed. Very exciting project. This is for none other than QuikTrip, which you've probably heard of, especially if you live in Oklahoma or if you live in Georgia, Texas, Kansas, Arizona, lots of places. They're scattered all over the U.S. And this was a very unique project. This is an internal project for QuikTrip, so not external facing. And this was a video that would communicate the safety efforts that are being made inside of QuikTrip to protect their customers that shop there, protect the employees that work there, and just all kinds of best-in-class efforts that are made on an annual basis, from security to law changes, just all kinds of things. Complex topic to figure out how to adapt and write creative for. So this was a project that's pretty cool. Somebody on QuikTrip's team, buddy of mine, Michael, came to us and said, I really want to tell this story of what we did primarily in 2024 and then coming through the spring of 2025, because everyone that works at QuikTrip is going to see it. And this is going to be a video that's going to play in front of 30,000 employees. And we really want them to know all the progress that's been made. And there was so much unique progress that had been made in that 12 months. But I will say, and this is where we'll start digging, complicated topic, right? Because you're dealing with things such as crime statistics, and you're dealing with things like theft, and just all things that every single retail business deals with right now in America. But what are the efforts that a business makes to protect the people that work there and protect the customers that they serve? So I'll probably start digging a little bit into the creative. We had this project came to our horizon a few years ago, actually. We had talked about the theory of creating this and got really excited about it, because for me, I think something that really drives me is anything that you create that maybe leaves the world a better place or makes the world a better place. Like I may not specialize in every topic, right? But it's like funny because sometimes we're shooting a commercial to sell slices of pizza, and then, sometimes we're selling HVAC units. Sometimes it's a climbing gym. There's a lot of selling in video production, but this wasn't really selling. This was like, how do we explore a topic and do it in an authentic, honest fashion and convey information in a way that the audience would take that and go, wow, That's incredible. I love what we're doing. And when we explored it and talked about all the things that QuikTrip was doing, to make QuikTrip safer, it was overwhelming. It was like they're being highly, highly crazy creative. So I want to start maybe with you, Adam, mainly because, I feel like even the first time we were brainstorming, you were involved. We made a big deck and we were thinking through all these things, and we looked at it from an entertainment perspective. Like, how do you really have a narrative? Yeah. Let's talk, we can get into high specifics with this one, but I also want to get some of your input on just the difference between handling a topic that is difficult and needs to be handled gracefully with authenticity versus selling a slice of pizza.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of that's it right there, is making sure that you're handling it in a way that feels like really human and really with some heart, and you're trying to connect to the audience as opposed to trying to sell them something or convince them of something. And so I think for us, the first question was what is this? Is this a documentary piece? Is this a PSA, or is this a series of things, or is this one standalone piece? So that was kind of initially about a year ago, one of the first decisions we had to make, what genre of video are we making here? And I think it evolved over time, and we were thinking about something episodic, and initially each episode would kind of tackle the theme from one angle, from the police angle, or from the judicial or legislative angle, and then from maybe the homeless perspective. And really what the final piece we did ended up being a merging of all of those into one smaller piece. And so planning it that way, we were kind of looking at each perspective to handle it through, kind of helped inform us of how wide-ranging the issue was altogether, because we're seeing where each side maybe gets disconnected, and maybe other angles where each side can be unified in ways that we can explore. And so we really wanted to lean into something that could bring people together, as opposed to just kind of point out all of the opposing sides, and how really when we all work together, whether that's through some of their initiatives or some of their community outreach programs, or some of the legal legislative outreach programs, how can all of these things work together to make QuikTrip safer? And so that was kind of the goal from a storytelling standpoint. It wasn't just to list facts, but also list why each fact or each bullet point mattered to the individuals, whether it was the people in the red shirts behind the counters, or the customers, and everyone in between. So just from a storytelling standpoint, once we nailed that, it was pretty straightforward. We had a list of all of the initiatives that they've done in the last year, and it was more of a question of, okay, how do we make this just entertaining, interesting, but also not naive to the seriousness of what we were trying to accomplish. So Taylor put together a pitch deck, or not a pitch deck, but an outline for this thing based on the earlier pitch deck we made. The guys went out and shot everything, and really meticulously flew all over the country. I don't know how many different places it was.
I don't either. I was there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went a lot of places.
I think at the end of the day, we counted, there were about 39 interviews for a piece that we were trying to range maybe 6 to 8 minutes. And we realized, as even in post, when that starts to evolve, for the final time, maybe this is more of a 10 to 15 minute piece, and where it feels good, it feels like it's flowing. And so that's what the final piece is. It's a route in that space, but it's utilizing all these interviews from police officers, community service people, legislators, employees, customers, to try and tell this multifaceted story in a way that makes sense, is entertaining, and kind of has some heart behind it too.
Yeah, that's a great summary. Jessica, I'm curious. I'd like to get kind of your perspective, because I mean, you can speak to it. I didn't feel like the producing of this was mega hard, because it was sort of get us to the right place and we'll film the thing. But I do think there is a lot of complexities. I mean, obviously you were producing, but also working with the client, of just managing a lot of opinions, and a lot of opinions that matter, with something that is can be done completely wrong. Like we could do this video wrong and they could just say, throw the whole thing in the trash, never mind, because you can't handle topics like this incorrectly. Talk to me just a little bit about that when it comes to the specifics of hearing opinions and taking, putting focus and making sure that things translate to how we're shooting and how we're editing, and then any producing things that you felt like were unique about this project.
Well, I think with this project, it comes down to there's a lot of voices that need to be heard. So that was where all of the opinions came from. I mean, there was QuikTrip people who had opinions, because they're trying to do things and it's important to get what they're doing across. And then there's red shirts. There are community outreach people that QuikTrip uses. So there's a lot of different voices that we needed to hear from. And I mean, when you take all of that in and they're all trying to do that for the betterment of making sure that QuikTrip is safe, it's super important. From the producing aspect, it was kind of, we had to do it in like 2 weeks, like the first travel round.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, I am the client manager, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just like, oh, okay, here's some stuff for you to help us with. And so it was great because I got to dive right in and, Taylor went and met with Lauren Sherry a little bit.
Yep.
They dove into different things. And it was just after that, Paxton was setting up, interviews with red shirts,
Yep.
employees on the ground, boots on the ground at different stores. And then it was setting up different things with community outreach, definitely setting stuff up with, police officers, but then firefighter, EMS, because of all of those people, it really, really matters because, I mean, one of the things was, we want to offer the police department funding, to try to help with this issue. But there were so many different things that we needed to do and cover. So that's why we had 39 interviews and they all really were great. But from a producing point, I think we flew you guys to Atlanta, Houston. Was it Houston or was it Dallas, Houston,
Phoenix, Atlanta.
Did you go to Houston?
I don't think we went to Houston, but we talked about it.
Okay.
And then we shot in Tulsa.
Yes, shot in Tulsa.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of moving parts too. And, we only were able to be there on specific days.
Yep.
So we had to line as many interviews up as we could. So
Yep.
it was a lot of fun with all the moving parts that were happening. But I think everyone's opinion was definitely shown in this, and also all that QuikTrip is doing to help. It's not just one thing, it's several different things. They had like, I think 15 or 18 initiatives that they were doing. So, I mean, talking about the length as well, like to get all of that information for the employees to hear and understand, it's important for it to be longer, and the client loved it. They were like, okay, it didn't really feel like it was 10 minutes, which was great to hear as well.
Yeah. Well, I think, because I want to talk a little bit with the guys on sort of the shooting style and what we were shooting. So let's bring those guys in.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back and we've got Jacob Hightower and Josh Garber here. These guys both spent a lot of time out in the field with me filming this QuikTrip project. So we've talked a little bit with Adam about the approach editorially and Jessica some of the producing. I want to talk just a little bit about the shooting, and I feel like this one was very unique because, we've discussed how authenticity is a critical element of this project. But beyond authenticity, there's also what's the word? Like you have to be in the right place at the right time to capture the authentic footage,
Yeah.
Like if you're going to tell a story of what it's like to work at a QuikTrip at midnight, well, you have to go to a QuikTrip at midnight. If you want to tell the story of what it's like to be homeless in Phoenix, well, you have to go hang out with homeless people in Phoenix. But if you're going to do those things, you also have to approach them with a level of careful consideration as well. Because like something I take a lot of pride in is how do we, in every way, shape, and form, how do we leave a place or a person better than we found them? Right? Like I never want to go somewhere and leave people offended or aggravated or in disarray. Like I always want to show up and be like an encouraging, force, even though we're filming, but like create positivity, you know?
It was kind of cool to be on these shoots in those times, like overnight shooting, getting to talk with some of the clerks and stuff, and just kind of like living out a moment in their time, you know, like their life. And it's deep meaningful to me because I've been going to QuikTrip for like the last 30 years since I can remember. You know? There was one right across the street from where I grew up, but it's just something that, you have to be in the moments to capture those moments. So.
I want to talk, and I can't remember, Josh, did you run a camera on this one some?
I didn't. It was mainly just running the lights and
run lighting and
around.
Drone a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw it to you, Josh. Talk to me, because obviously you think about equipment a lot. And it's funny because in some regard, obviously I know that you shoot some photos and you shoot some video, but you're dealing with equipment all the time. And it's crazy, and it can be overlooked real easily, how much the way you travel with your gear and the way you pack your gear and the things you do take and the things you don't take have a tremendous impact on what you're actually even able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like you think about what people can do with just an iPhone because it's on them. It's in their pocket, it's ready, it's easy, you can hit record easily. But then when you try to elevate it to the levels of cinematography that we're going for, like lighting, for example, like how do you authentically shoot reality footage with lighting? You know, that's friggin' hard.
It's tough.
Talk just a little bit about that. And I mean, you can dive into this QuikTrip project. I mean, obviously we did have the uniqueness of using the QuikTrip jet to move around, which helped us a little bit. But talk to me just a little bit about the gear and how this compared to other things.
Yeah, well, to start, you said it, the jet was a big difference for us, which was really nice because we weren't limited to how we packed. I mean, we still had to be cognizant of how we did it, but we were able to have the cameras built out already, which helped because these QuikTrip projects were very fast paced. It wasn't go to one QuikTrip and then sit there and shoot all day. It was we're at various locations throughout the day. So, and we're on a timeline. So that makes the difference being able to just pop the cameras into a bag and go rather than having to break everything down and so on and so forth. So lighting, we brought, I don't remember exactly
I think
what
we had a
brought.
Flapjack?
We had the F-22, the matte light.
F-22, yeah.
And then we had the 200s. And we had to play around with it quite a bit because we were inside filming, but we did a lot of outside shooting too. A lot of it was used with a handheld reflector, which, I mean, all you add a little bit of light, it just completely creates a different scene. So, but it was cool. We were in tight, I feel like the shots were very unique. Like, you picked some really cool spots to film. One of them was in the freezer.
Yeah, I was playing with the B angle, which I got to kind of experiment in some ways of just some like different looking B angle shots. Not thinking our traditional way that we usually shoot, 3/4. We started to think kind of like, well, let's put the negative space
on the other side.
Let's center them up, but then get the QuikTrip logo out of focus just enough to where you can tell it's a QuikTrip logo. And honestly, when we got done with that, I had some of my favorite B-angle shots that I've ever shot. And it was just being in the moment, the right place at the right time, finding the right angles. And, I mean, the Zeisses have, awesome depth of field, so we can...
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're just great lenses, too. But,
we brought, I mean, again, like back to the gear, we weren't as limited, but there is a fine line that you have to kind of walk on because you don't want to bring too much.
You only have so many hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we had slider, we had everything for handheld, we had gimbal, and I think we did a really good job of dialing in what we needed because we were able to use everything that we brought.
Yeah.
But not feel overwhelmed with like how much stuff we had.
Sometimes you bring too much and it really it hurts the production.
Yeah.
You can't use it all. You move around slower. You need more hands to help out. So sometimes just bringing that perfect amount of gear is what sets the difference.
The little what's it called? the little light.
The MC Pro.
The MC Pro.
Yeah.
We use that quite a bit too.
Yeah,
Yep.
came in handy.
I was disappointed, but you're right, it happened.
I know, but hey, in some of those spaces,
I
again,
keep
like
slipping it into the briefcase just to...
I'm like, get that thing out of there.
when you're in certain tight spaces, like corridors where you really can't put a big light
Yeah.
in there, you gotta do something, and those
Yep.
little things come in handy.
One thing I think too that's like worth pointing out on this project from a cinematography perspective that I was really happy about. I don't know, have you watched this on like an 80-inch?
No, I've only seen it on a smaller display.
I'm telling you, it's crazy because
I heard it was...
it's crazy. Like it's something that I was really proud of you guys for as well. Because I think I ran a camera some, but I didn't run a camera constantly.
You were asking a lot of questions.
I was doing a lot of directing.
Yeah.
Mark and HT were
Yeah, Mark was A cam, I was B cam.
And it was interesting because, one, the fact that we were shooting on R5s, I think is unique, which, for most viewers, they could care less. But I mean, what's unique about that is it's not a DSLR, but it's close. And so it's a smaller bodied camera, which, has its ups and downs. Like usually audio interface is a little more complex. You don't have as many knobs. You can't control things as well. But these little guys will shoot 8K. But to shoot 8K, you got to hard power them. But to hard power them, you can use V-mount systems. And so we fully rigged those things up to shoot in the higher resolution, but to shoot in full frame. And full frame brings so much more depth of field, which is beautiful so long as it's in focus. Then beyond that, I felt very committed to wanting to shoot on primes. So we shot on Zeiss primes and we were wide open. And that was like constant where I was like, are you wide open? Are you wide open? Are you wide open? So we were shooting at like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 most of the time, which also is super hard. So then your monitor matters because you got to get it in focus. And that was something, considering the circumstances of shooting out in the middle of the hot sun of Phoenix,
Outside,
or
yeah.
shooting in the middle of the night at very quick turn, like get out, shoot, leave. And when we got back to that footage, and it's all 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and it's so pretty. Like you really owe it to yourself, both of you guys, to go watch it on the big screen in the edit suite because it is magnificent. Like the interviews look beautiful, and it also speaks oddly to like what you were saying about how much gear do we bring. It's funny like watching this interview, this guy outside midday, knowing that you're keying him with a 200X, which is by all standards not enough light.
Yeah.
But like those cameras have enough dynamic range, and we were able to do enough things. There's also kind of a sweet spot with a fast lens where that background just goes whoosh like mega bokeh.
I was gonna say
things just look beautiful.
that's one way. Those lenses are super sharp.
Yep.
They're super shallow.
Yep.
So you can tell what's out of focus
You know.
pretty quick.
You can,
And
which is also helpful.
It is helpful.
Yeah.
So if you get something that's like a f4 or something, and you're like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of in between.
You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're just
You could
there.
be at 10 feet or 20 feet and not be sure.
At 1.4 on those Zeiss lens, like
Gone or
you
it's
know,
in?
you know if that nose is out of focus,
Yeah.
or that eye is out of focus.
Yeah.
Like you just,
Yeah.
it's such a super sharp lens that
Yep.
it's
Yeah, they're pretty, man.
Yeah.
They're pretty. Well, I think that's all we have time for today. We appreciate you guys so much for joining us on Retrospect from the Archives. This project was such an honor. Obviously, QuikTrip is such a huge company in town and across the nation, so we were really honored to work on it. If you liked what you saw and you want to learn more, we have over 50, maybe 60 episodes in our Season 1, and then we've got over a dozen episodes in our Season 2 of projects that we dissect. So check them out, retrospectfilms.com, or any of the platforms that have podcasts. You'll find us. Retrospect from the Archives. We'll see you next time. Woo! Later.
I'm gonna go make a quick trip run. You
Sweet.
guys need
Oh
anything?
yeah, come on.